When I was 5, my mom wanted to bring me to the VA to meet this physician for a sort of bring your child to work day. And well, before I continue on, in my head, everyone who worked at a hospital was a doctor to me. So, for the sake of the story, we're going to be calling them a doctor from now on. But my mom walked me through the ivory white hallways of the VA, and I was holding her hand. And as we approached, I saw two figures. I look to my left, and I see a black person in scrubs. I look to my right, and I see a white person in scrubs. Now, as I'm holding my hand, walking down this hallway, I let go of my mom's hand and just beeline straight towards the white person in scrubs. And it turns out that's not who I was supposed to meet at all. Now, this was embarrassing for one of two reasons. First reason is that my mom had been gassing me up to all of her coworkers since I was even a thought, almost before I was even born. And they knew everything about me from my childhood name to first name. They knew everything about me. But the second reason it was embarrassing is because I figured, oh, the doctor that I'm supposed to be meeting, there's no way that they're going to be black, which is awful considering the fact that my own mother is a nurse. Hi. So, seeing as my own mother's a nurse and that I'm supposed to be meeting a black doctor and that my own doctor at the time is black, you think, oh, this kid is going to know that's who I'm supposed to be meeting, not the white doctor. Now, everything up until this point in my life, I knew what success looked like. And my image of success in my head didn't look like me. In the classroom, in the media, what I saw were people who didn't look like me being in the places that I wanted to be in. The policymakers, lawmakers, and activists of the world, or in this case, the doctors. The shoes I wanted to be in were shoes that I simply couldn't fit into. Albeit during this time, we had a black president, Barack Obama, but even in my little 5-year-old head, I knew that this was something so rare that it might never, ever happen again. And I knew that it was going to be even difficult to fathom that being a possibility for little 5-year-old me. Now, this is an example of cultivation theory, a theory founded by George Gerbner in the 1960s that has since been updated to cover TV shows, movies, and all forms of common media. It's a study that states that TV shows, movies, the media I mentioned before can oftentimes shift reality from what is actually happening to what the TV show is showing you or what the media is showing you. Now, in my life, I do have people who are black and achieving excellent things. However, what I saw in the media and what I saw in the classroom kind of dampened that light. You know what? Just to really hone in on the fact that cultivation theory is this important issue and that representation is something that truly matters, I have another story for you. My dad was telling me a story about a friend of his growing up. This wonderful student had a 4.0 GPA, was one of the best wrestlers in the state, well liked by everybody in his community, and even the teachers loved him. I mean, with the right exposure, it was very well possible, good and well possible, dare I say, that a full ride scholarship was almost imminent for this young man. He was a normal high schooler. In his free time, he loved to watch movies and TV shows. Now, let me stop for a second. Movies and TV shows during this time kind of presented drugs as a way to achieve the American dream. Now, outside of education being the main way, it was presented that if education goes south, there's always drugs that can be used to achieve what you want to achieve and getting your family into the nice house that they want to live in and making sure that your little brother is able to eat whatever meal he may want that night. And when an entire generation is grown up on movies like this that perpetuate these ideas far beyond their epicenter, some people will eventually follow in those footsteps. I mean, I just told you about cultivation theory. And unfortunately, some people did follow in those footsteps. See, this man that I was telling you all about, that my father told me about, was eventually incarcerated. And this man that I speak of is actually my own father. He is a man who is just as bright as me, if not brighter, just as well spoken as me, if not more, and articulates any word you can ask him to in a way that I don't even think I can do myself. Yet, I'm on the stage with this opportunity, and he never had that. Now, why might that be? You can blame it on the time he grew up in. Okay, that's a possibility. You can blame it on the people that he was around. Okay, that's true as well. But I think the more overarching theme is the media and what it presented as in ways to achieve your American dream. Now, up until this point, cultivation theory has been negative. I mean, it was a theory that took my dad's life of a wonderful student who would achieve a full ride scholarship to a product of his environment. But it's not entirely negative, and it can have positive connotation with the right representation. No, let me tell you another story. When I was in the 8th grade, this movie came out. It was called Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And it had this amazing character. His name was Miles Morales. He had this big poofy afro. He was a nerdy black kid, but it was cool and endearing in a certain type of way. I mean, he got B's in Spanish. He was so grounded. He felt like me. He had parents that were always around him, always encouraging him, pushing him to be whatever he wanted to be in life. He wanted to be a quantum physicist. How often do you ever hear somebody talking about that? Now, there were shoes that I felt like I could walk into. There were shoes that could, not too big, not too small, shoes that could take me into my identity, take me in to who I wanted to be in life. Now, this is all about media representation, but what is far more important than media representation is media literacy and how we digest the representation that's fed to us. Because there's certainly good and bad forms of representation, but what matters is how we as consumers digest that representation. So I'm going to be giving you some steps that I myself took to achieve proper media literacy and not allow myself to be persuaded, even unintentionally so. The first step I took was realizing what ways media could try and persuade me. And this was through an English class, actually, but you can look it up online. I did it myself. And it presents to you these three things called ethos, logos, and pathos. I'm going to start with logos, which is it tugs at the brain and makes you, because numbers can never truly lie. But what matters about numbers, the important part about numbers, is the context behind those numbers. Because numbers, they don't tell a lie, but they also cannot tell the full story. You need the context behind those numbers to truly understand what's going on. The next one is ethos, which is credibility. I always get it mixed up with emotion because ethos, emotion, it feels like it should be a thing. But credibility, seeing sources that are actually credible and that you can believe easily, because not every single source is credible, and many sources go out of their way to spread misinformation, so you have to always be wary of that. Now, the last source is pathos, which is emotion. It'll use vivid imagery and really descriptive adjectives to paint a picture in your head that might not always be true. In some cases, it very well may be, but it might not always be true. So you always need to be wary of that in the ways media may try and tug at your heartstring to make you truly believe something that you never had an intention of believing. That's step one. Now, this is step two, and it's honestly the most simple step that can apply to any aspect of your life. And that step is never stop learning. Thousands of videos are uploaded to the internet every day. Thousands of articles are uploaded to the internet every single day. The internet is constantly evolving. It's ever changing. So if the internet that we give so much of our time to is constantly evolving, why not us? Thank you.